All right, Maria, I think we are officially live on the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron YouTube channel. I'm just going to make sure of that before we get started.
Okay.
Yep, we are live right now. All right, well, I'm going to start by saying my name is Rosemary Oakman, and I am the founder and director of the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project. And I am so honored to be here this evening with Maria Bentley, who has been a passionate and dedicated artist with the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project since 2015. We have worked together in several residencies, in several different workshop and program capacities, and I cannot speak enough to how wonderful Maria is to work alongside of. She is currently the Arts Enrollment Specialist at Alfred University, where she is also pursuing a second master's degree in licensed mental health counseling for school counseling. So very exciting, and Maria will get into all of the information about her travels through Alfred University as both an undergraduate and graduate and employee. So I look forward to hearing about it.
Thanks, Rose. Awesome. I'm just gonna share my screen here and we'll get started. All right. So thanks, Rose. Yeah, as Rose said, my name is Maria Bentley. I am an artist. I'm community-based organizer. I work with individuals of all ages. I've been a member of the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron team since 2015. And I am employed by Alfred University as the Assistant Director in Admissions and Arts Enrollment Specialist. So talking about my hometown a little bit, I grew up in Seneca Falls, New York, which is the birthplace of women's rights, right in the middle of the Finger Lakes. I like to say water, women, and wine. There's the three of the best things in the whole wide world to me. And they all happen right in Seneca Falls, New York, right in the middle of the Finger Lakes. Birthplace of women's rights. So I grew up around a lot of really great suffragette movement, a lot of great history, a lot of great civil rights movement history. So really, really appreciate the upbringing that I had in Seneca Falls, and it really made me understand and respect a lot of the individuals that came before me and the history behind the rights that I have today. And it's also, for a little bit of whimsy, the said to be the home of Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life movie. So every holiday season, there's a big run, there's a whole festival, It's a Wonderful Life makeup of downtown Seneca Falls, and we call it Bedford Falls, just like in the movie. So it's a pretty magical place, and it's really special to me. And this is my family. So this is my family unit here with my mom and my brother and my partner, my best friend Ryan. My best friend Ryan has really been a huge support to me in my artistic career, and just kind of being my rock. And then this is my partner's family here. They've also been a really great support to me personally and professionally in everything that I do. So this is kind of my unit that keeps me going. And then growing up, I also had a really strong connection with my grandfather. My grandfather was an engineer. He also was a painter. These are examples of some of his paintings. And that's me and my brother when we were little. And we spent a lot of time in his studio painting and making and listening to music and dancing. And we just spent almost every other weekend at a gallery or a museum. So he's really the reason that I fell in love with the arts and fell in love with the community that the arts embrace and really have within the different geographic locations that they hold. So he really taught me to get involved in your local community and get involved in the arts and to make no matter what. So even if your 9 to 5 is something that is not in the arts, make sure that you're going home and making. He was always making, whether it was painting or drawing or sketching or sculpting with little bits of wire or whatnot. He was the stronghold for how I fell in love with the arts and really decided to attend Alfred University. And I went to Alfred University in 2011. attended and got my BFA. I played lacrosse at Alfred, and I was involved in almost every single internship you could think of, gallery experience. I really wanted to get my feet wet in all the different community aspects. And I think more important than my studio practice is my community practice. I really think that's really important. How you network, how you connect with your community members, how are you able to create those relationships? There's nothing more valuable than people and those relationships that we build with each other. That's really what the artistic community is about, is really creating those relationships, making that network, and having that strong sense of community. So I had several internships as an undergraduate student that really shaped who I am as an artist and who I am as a community organizer. Alzheimer's Glass and Iron, I got involved with that with Rose starting in my senior year. I was a part of the Art Force 5 with Dan Napolitano. I was also an intern at the Cohen Gallery. And then also the two biggest internships and gallery experiences for me were the Robert C. Turner Gallery, where I had the opportunity to be the director of the gallery. I was able to curate the work of Armando Milani, who is an internationally renowned designer, with Judy Livingston. That was just such an amazing experience that really gave me professional confidence. And then also the Belfry, which was founded by Ashley Lyon and Ian McMahon. It was just like such a fun alternative space that really pushed the definition of what it meant to be a gallery and a community art space outside of a white cube. So I owe a lot to Ian and Ashley for teaching me that and like really showing me what that meant to be a part of that community. And then my connection getting into the Art Force 5 and Alzheimer's Glass and Iron. I was in Dan's Drawing to Diversity and Art Force 5 class in my senior year. And a part of that program, you have to do a capstone. So I had lived with Rose in the suites. I think it was my sophomore year, her junior year. And we had talked about our shared passion for community arts and really thinking about Alzheimer's and combining our love for the mediums of glass and iron. And Rose was saying that she wanted to create this program. And then here I was 2 years later, reaching out to her to work and collaborate and do my Air Force 5 capstone. And we did an Alzheimer's awareness brunch in conjunction with the Alzheimer's Association and St. James Mercy Hospital. And that was how I really dove in and got involved with the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron team. That was my first big outreach and connection with the group. And then my BFA thesis exhibition, this was me right after graduation. I went right to the gallery and I was patching holes and spackling and picking everything up right after graduation in my cap and gown. And then my BFA thesis exhibition, my work really deals a lot with the concept of memory and creation and just materiality, and coming from the earth and thinking about those materials and how those materials really take on a figurative identity to me. So a lot of my works are either concepts of portraits or have different figurative elements to me. So within my BFA thesis, this piece was called Dust to Dust. And it really has a lot of ideals of Catholicism and for creation story references. I grew up going to Catholic school, and while I consider myself more spiritual now, a lot of those concepts and ideals still stick with me in my work. And that's one of the reasons why I use clay or organic materials, because I'm really thinking about that seriousness of who I am as a maker, and also from that creation story, what does it mean to make, and why are we making? Why are we putting these things as artists into the world? And then just thinking about the vessel as a person, as a figurative element. So in my work, I always have some sort of ceramic material, some sort of fiber, wood, metal, and then I also like to use light, whether it's for fluorescent lighting or neon. So this piece in particular was an interactive piece. So you have the palette here, and those are ceramic burnout burlap sacks. And then I have this ceramic trash can. And then I invited the viewer to eat an apple and leave the core in the trash can. So at the end of the show, I had this really great decay within the piece that really was a compilation of everyone that went through. So I love that touch of the community on the piece. And then this piece is a portrait in essence of my grandfather. So when he had Alzheimer's, the one memory I have of him that really makes me laugh is there was one morning he was peeling these like bags of potatoes, and he was a veteran. So as part of his service, I think there was one point where he had to peel potatoes, bags of potatoes. And there was one morning where that's what he had to do. So if you're familiar as a caregiver with those that have Alzheimer's, they get fixated on repetitious moments or movements. And for him, this was that moment. And I constantly found him going back to the potato. So that's what the potato really symbolizes in my work, is that memory and that figurative element. And then this post piece was really something that I wanted to think about with that idea of ephemerality, that passage, that barrier, thinking about life and death and that passage that we have in between with these inorganic fluorescent light bulbs and just that harsh contrast between the soil and the light. And then this piece, bottom of the barrel, really goes toward that kind of organic idea of these vessels that hold these organic materials until there is no more, and how that organic material really wears on these vessels over time. And again, that insertion of that odd yet surreal lighting. I look at Robert Gober's work a lot, and this really kind of, to me, goes into the same framework. He also grew up as a Catholic, and he has a lot of different works where he's thinking about that idea of that passage or that veil looking into the piece within the piece. So underneath the barrel here, there's like this grate almost that's created by the bottom of the barrel, and you can look in and there's apple slices in there. And then in my senior year, looping back to Alzheimer's Glass and Iron again, I was awarded a Bernstein grant through the Judson Leadership Center to do a residency with the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron team at SAW, which is Salem Artworks. And here we're pictured doing our talk with Corey Fecto, who is part of our Career Development Center at Alfred. She was a huge support in helping me get that Bernstein grant and really helping me push that forward. And a part of that Bernstein grant, after the residency at SAW, Rose and I came back to Alfred and we did a cuttlefish workshop that we then presented on and did some memory work within the community and Meltdown at the National Casting Center at Alfred. So that was a really great opportunity to take the whole experience full circle. And then this is us at SAW, the whole Alzheimer's team. These women are really huge force in my life. I really love what they represent and who they are as individuals. They're just always there to support not only their close friends, but the community of the arts. And that's really why I fell in love with Alzheimer's Glass and Iron and just dove in headfirst with everything and anything that Rose has asked for or anything that we've been doing with the community. So this residency was really amazing. I enjoyed every aspect of it because we were able to go into care facilities and work with the elderly. We were doing workshops, and then we were also able to go back and kind of create in the studios at SAW. So Rose, do you want to elaborate a little bit on the workshop?
Yes. So the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project is a cross-generational community project. And when we first started, we had the idea of going into care communities and facilitating creative cultural programs. So the majority of what we were doing was working with watercolors as well as a medium called Model Magic. And I don't know if it's just how sweet Maria is or her previous experiences living and being a caregiver for someone with Alzheimer's disease, but Maria really has a special touch and finesse that is incredible, and she really lights up a room when she walks in. And I think just to see someone who is so vibrant and full of life really gives an amazing experience to everyone in the creative aging workshops that Maria was leading as well as assisting with at Salem Artworks in the greater community there.
Thanks, Rose. Yeah, so I think that's the best part about the whole Alzheimer's Glass and Iron program and the work that we do is that it's cross-generational. And to me, that's super exciting. The fact that we're able to work with the elderly, we're able to work with the caregivers. And then here we are not only making artworks, but also doing memory bubble workshops with youth. So right here, we went back to SAW after we went and worked with the elderly, and we took the watercolor paintings that they made or the little clay sculptures that they made, and we were blowing them in glass or casting them in iron. So it's just this really great experience to take something that is a memory that they have in that fleeting moment and then to make it something tangible that we can then give back to their caregivers is really that regenerative full cycle experience that I really enjoy. This is some of the work that I made at SAW. These are some of those sculptures that were made off of elderly sculptures. I didn't make these, but I chased them. There was a whole day where I just was over chasing metal, and that was just very therapeutic and like really made me think about metal and the idea of surfacing and how the surface of metal is really organic. And a lot of people don't think of it as this organic element, but it is very porous and it can rust and it can be malleable and it can break and shatter. And I think just in that day, spending those hours of chasing and working and finishing these objects, I then made this piece for one of the pours at SAW, which is a metal sack. Again, back to the burlap and the vessels that I make. I really think of this as a piece. So this is a portrait of what I identify as like the process of Alzheimer's. So it's something that takes you into this very fragile, very porous state. And then towards the end, you're just done. You're just full. You're full of weight, but there's nothing inside. So having this vessel that was then cast in iron, it was that great kind of transition into those stages for me. And then these are some examples of artworks in glass that I made based off of watercolor paintings that the elderly had made. I really love this one. I remember this elderly individual had a story that they told with this, and she was talking about meeting her sweetie, and she said something along the lines of, he came up to her and he said, well, where are you going, or what are you doing the rest of your life? And she said, I'm going this way. And he goes, okay, me too. So I titled this piece Going This Way. And I thought that that was really special. And that's all she kept saying. She was like, going this way, going this way. So thinking about that idea of movement and going through life and having those partnerships was a really special moment with this individual.
And I think that was something that was really special about the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron project is that we were working with college-aged individuals, not only to learn how to cast glass or cast iron or blow glass, but we were working with them through this whole process. So a lot of times when artists were making these companion pieces, they were the ones who were facilitating the painting workshop. So it really did go full circle in the way that you had this incredible heartwarming experience at the care community. And then you were able to go back to the glass shop at Salem Artworks and create a piece. And then those pieces were always gifted back either to the older adults' family members or to the care community to be on display there. So it's really something very special when an artist is able to bring a painting all the way into a sculpture.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, these are just some more examples. I think that's what's so special about each work that we create is that there's a story behind it. There's a person behind it. there's a team of caregivers and family members, so that these watercolor paintings and then the works that we create don't represent just the two artists, thinking of the elderly as the artist and us as the artist, but there's that whole community of care that is behind it, focusing on memory and really cherishing that moment. And then we worked a lot with youth as well, teaching them about Alzheimer's and the concept of memory, and really valuing that. And these are memory bubbles. Rose, do you want to talk more about that?
Sure. So this was a program we were doing at Salem Artworks in the summers of 2016 and 2017. And previously we had been doing a lot of cast iron work, like tile work with children. And it was effective, but really having the children enter the glass shop was something really magical. And when the pandemic is over, we do have plans to recreate these programs once again at different glass shops around New York and beyond. But the concept for the memory bubbles is we work with the children and they come in, and I really work with them at their age level to explain what Alzheimer's disease is, what memory loss is, not in a scary way at all, but in a way where if you go over to someone else's house and their grandmother is having some behaviors that seem odd to you, maybe what that could be, or definitely addressing it when children had a loved one with memory loss, and talking always with their parent group as well. It wasn't like we were just talking to these kids with no supervision, but we would explain a little bit at an age-friendly level what was happening with Alzheimer's disease in the brain. And really there was a big advocacy part of what we were doing. I really wanted the children we were working with to understand that memory loss was something that was out in the world, but also that we were working, not just us, but the Alzheimer's Association is really working towards finding a cure. And what we tried to instill in those children was, we want to try to find the cure in your lifetime. We want to make sure that you're able to hold on to all of your memories when you grow up. And I think it was really successful. And we were working at Salem Artworks for 5 years in a row. And it was a rural farm community. So we'd oftentimes have children do repeat years with us, come back summer after summer. And their understanding and knowledge of Alzheimer's really grew summer to summer, which is incredible. I think putting knowledge in children's hands in a way that is palpable for them is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also the glass shop. So
yeah,
being in the glass shop, because there's the whole part about learning about Alzheimer's disease, but then there's also this part about, I get to learn about the glass process. And depending on their age level, like the color you add at times can look like sprinkles. And there's the whole conversation of what's your favorite color. And then my absolute favorite part of this project is that the children whisper their favorite memory into the bubbles before we break it off the blowpipe. And I think my favorite actual part of it is the child-adult interaction between them and their parents, because it's a sentimental project for sure. So the parents want their favorite memory to be when my brother was born, when we got to go on our family trip and see our cousins in Texas, like one of those kind of things. And the kids are always like, my favorite memories of the Mickey Mouse Playhouse. And you just see the parents and you're like, no, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun at just having kids in the glass shop. And I think with the arts too, it's great to expose children to the different mediums. So I think where a lot of kids may learn how to paint and do printmaking in school, I think it's a really special experience to have a glass blowing workshop offered. And what we were doing was we were grant funded. So they were offered at an incredibly reduced rate. And we always have scholarships for people who may not have been able to pay. So that was an important part of it all too, was making sure that this was an accessible program that we could offer the community.
Yeah, and I think that's the other really great thing is like the relationship and the similarities between the elderly that we work with and the children. Their minds are so palpable, and like the memories that they cling to are so simple and just like so pure, that there are these really great moments of just like pure positivity. Like this piece was just about watching his grandson ride a bike. Like that was all this individual wanted to talk about that day. So I think that's another thing that this project really teaches me to do, is to like step back and really value the small moments, because like one day that may be all we have. So that's what I really appreciate about like this full circle moment between the generations.
I'm going to stop you, Maria. There's a comment in the chat box asking if we can talk a little bit about the original art and giving the glass or iron result to the caregiver or family. Does the original artist react to the transformed object? And if it's okay with you, I might start the response, and then I would love for your commentary as well.
Totally.
Oftentimes it is met with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm when we are giving back these artworks, especially for if we are fortunate enough to be interacting with a family who's at the care facility at the same time we are giving back the artwork. And it's always, I think, very appreciated by the care staff. The part of this project, which is tragic, other than just Alzheimer's disease in itself being pretty tragic, is when we reintroduce the art object that's been inspired off the painting, it can sometimes be frustrating because the older adult oftentimes doesn't have any recollection of creating the painting, because we are working with people predominantly in care communities who have advanced Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. So there is that grappling of how do we introduce this? And what we've done over time is really, we have a lot of training from the Alzheimer's Association, but we don't press that you made this painting. Instead, we just kind of bring in the artwork and talk about it from a fresh new start, which is really, I think, a beautiful way that we've approached this. And there was definitely a learning curve with that, and definitely it took us a while before we just started introducing the pieces as new pieces that we were all going to look at and enjoy together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely enjoy that. Part's my favorite, when we bring the work back. And I enjoy the moments of cognition where they'll say, I made that. And then they'll be like, I made that. And then they're like, I'm an artist. Like that is so satisfying to like have them experience that moment of remembering when they made that, and having that sense of pride. That's really, really valuable.
Thank you so much for that question.
Yeah, so these are just some more examples of the team at SAW and making. And then a whole nother part of my life is my job at Alfred in admissions. So I'm the assistant director and arts enrollment specialist at Alfred University. And I work primarily with students that are applying to our School of Art and Design and our Performing Arts division. And a large part of that is working on applications, answering financial aid questions, doing enrollment, campus visit days, open houses, all of those really great things. So I just love the energy and the sense of community that that position provides me, and also to have it be in the arts is definitely something that I value. And then another huge part of my job, the reason that I love going in every day when we're able to go in every day, is my students. So not only do I get to work with incoming art students, but I get to supervise our student ambassadors, which are tour guides. These are them right here. They are a huge part of what I do and why I'm inspired, and they make me laugh, they make me cry, they make me tired, they make me energized. So I absolutely adore my students and love all of the fresh ideas and perspectives that they bring, and just having conversations with them about anything and everything, and really focusing on that development that they're going through is something that really intrigues me, which is why I decided to get my master's in college student development also at Alfred. So I got my MSCD in college student development here at Alfred. And my capstone thesis was on student development and identity through leadership. So these two right here in the front, that's Shai and Jenna, and then Gigi here. So they were our head student ambassadors, which was a new leadership position that I created within admissions, within our student ambassador team, and really was focusing on what are those facets of leadership? How does that work within a community? How can that help through identity development at that age? And what skills can they develop that can then be transferable skills into career development? So it was really successful. Both of them have really successful professional jobs now. Gigi is an absolutely amazing creative communications person. And then going into this year, this is my new team of head student ambassadors. And then that transitioned into a marketing internship position within admissions for Ashley right here. She's our social media guru. And then we've got Chris and Ben and Danny. So they're absolutely amazing. Can't say enough good things about our students. And then on the other side, externally from Alfred, I have this great opportunity to travel all across the country. I feel absolutely blessed that I have that opportunity to travel to college fairs and classrooms and different museums and visit with prospective students. So we get to review their portfolios. We get to tell them about Alfred. We get to go into classrooms. I get to help teachers with curriculum development, portfolio development, lesson plans, and really just helping students find their passion for the arts, but not only find their passion, but define it. I think that's something that's so exciting about working with this age range is the fact that they're really going through a lot of critical identity development and helping them ask those questions and then turn those questions into statements is the most exciting part for me. And then these are some of my amazing colleagues. We have a great staff at Alfred. Another reason I love to go to work every day. So this is Billy here. This is at Art Prom. We are a partner with Scholastic Art and Writing Awards that Dan has been a huge support with, Dan Napolitano, our assistant dean. So through the Art Force Vibe and his work through the NAACP, we got a connection to Scholastics, and we've been an adjudicating partner with them, and we're able to go to their art prom that they have every year, which is really exciting. And then this is Caitlin Brown. She's an amazing educator and community member in Alfred. That's her night in SECA, which is the National Ceramics Conference. And then Hiram Cray, my right hand in admissions. He's my colleague that works right alongside me with all portfolio reviews and helping all of the art students. And then also through my travels, I've been able to be very fortunate to overlap my recruitment in the arts and then also our community social justice activism. So Dan sent me on Art Force 5 trips. This one in particular was really special to me. I was able to do this at the Women's Rights National Hall of Fame and Museum in Seneca Falls. So that was a really great moment for me to be back home working with the with the Art Force 5 and having that moment in my hometown. That was really exciting. This is the completion of my MSED in college student development. And then I'm also working towards my MSED in school counseling and my LMHC certification. I enjoyed college student development so much, and I absolutely love the professors in our counseling program in our graduate school that I want to stay. I want to keep working with them. They're absolutely inspiring. I love the curriculum. I love that career field. And I just want to keep helping people in any capacity that I can. And then more on my studio practice and works that I've been making. This piece was featured in 2018 in a national juried exhibition at Main Street Arts. This was on decomposition. That was the whole theme of the exhibition. So it was great to resurrect this piece for that exhibition. And then this was a newer piece that I made in 2019. Thanks to Sarah Ferguson, who was another great friend, colleague, mentor. She really forced me to make again in 2019. And this piece came out of that. And this title is How Are the Numbers? So thinking about repetition of daily tasks that we do. Again, it's a ceramic burnout piece. And this was featured in the local alumni invitational, an exhibition of small works at the Cohen Gallery in 2019. And then from that, I was also able to participate in Won't You Be My Neighbor, which was a community arts exhibition and series of workshops that was put on by alumnus Michael Bernard Stevenson Jr. and Cassandra Bull. So that was a really great opportunity. I was paired, there was these multiple pairings of artists and community members, and I was paired with Karen Tufte here, and we had some really great conversations about ceramics and materiality and our favorite places in Alfred and our favorite textures and just people and places and sounds and smells. And it was a really great experience. And we made these prints up here, which were some of our favorite small snippets of Alfred. And then we made a deck of playing cards that the viewer could then sit down and play a game of cards. And then the last piece that has been my creative energy in this past year has been building a house with my partner. This is my partner, Greg, here. I don't know, we either are ambitious or crazy. I'm not sure which one, but we decided to build a house from the ground up. So this is on land that we own, and it's in Hornell, New York. And we built it right from the ground up on our own with a lot of help from family and friends. And we honestly could not do it without our family and our community behind us. It's been a lot of late nights, a lot of long weekends, and it's really kind of absorbed all of our creative energy, but it's also been very rewarding. So these are just some shots of us working on that process, all the way from getting the building permit to clearing the land, all the way to first post here. Everything we've done ourselves. We contracted this initial frame structure out to a local Amish builder. But then other than that, we've pretty much done everything ourselves. This is our nephew here, Megan's son, Greg's sister. He has been a huge help as well, creating a lot of positive humor into the building process. He's definitely our stress relief and our unofficial foreman on the job site. And then these are more pictures of the house and where it's progressed and how it's going. It's absolutely the most beautiful view in Hornell that I can think of. Nature also plays a huge part in my work, just thinking about that materiality of clay and the earth, and really creating in it and being able to live way out in a rural area, something that is important to me. And then these are some final examples of the house and where we're at, and we're hoping to move in within the next month or so. So that's been a huge project that we've been working on.
Congratulations. That is
thanks. And the last piece that we have together is maple marrow at B&T Farms. My partner and I have this maple farm right on the land where we built the house, and we are New York State certified. We are registered with New York State Maple. We attend conferences multiple times a year. We absolutely love the whole community that is Maple. It's very similar to the arts, which is another reason why when he said, do you want to do Maple? I fell in love with it because of the community and the people. And this is just kind of that process. I think another great thing about the Maple community is they are so education focused, that there's a lot of that education and working with the community that the Maple organizations really value as well. So we'll be getting on maple season here pretty soon. In a couple of months, we tap the trees and run lines. And then this is our evaporator here in our sugar house. And all of it happens right here, right on the land, right where we built the house. And then this past year, we were very fortunate to partner with Railhead Brewing Company. And we had some maple beer, some maple Vienna lager, and they allowed us to set up outside and sell some syrup. So we're definitely excited for more opportunities post-COVID and moving forward, because we're very extroverted people who want to be in the community and meet people and talk to people. So we're definitely excited to get out there and keep making and keep sharing what we love. Yeah. And if you have any questions or want to contact me, there's some contact information. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to move into a questions and answers section with Maria. If you want to go back to any of the contact information, the video will be continue to be kept on our YouTube page. And you can always reach out to me and I can get you Maria's contact information. But for anyone who is currently in the chat, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I also have some questions lined up for Maria. I did see someone in the chat say that maple syrup is one of the 4 major food groups. I cannot agree more.
Yes.
Actually, that was Dan Napolitano, our mentor. But I'm going to start off, Maria, asking you, why did you choose Alfred for your BFA?
Yeah, I chose Alfred because it was, well, as an 18-year-old, it was far enough away from me, but it was also close to home. Family is really important to me. And the rural landscape that is New York State really inspires a lot of my work and a lot of the choices that I make. So it was important for me to stay within New York. And also the rural landscape of Alfred was something so different, but also something that I really wanted to experience. So being in the middle of the Finger Lakes, I was always surrounded by water. And then going to Alfred and being surrounded by hills and farmland, it was just this totally different experience that I hadn't had as an artist, and just in a geographic sense. But then from an academic standpoint, I really fell in love with the interdisciplinary curriculum that Alfred has, and just the fact that you don't have to major in a medium, the fact that I could go in and get my hands dirty in anything and everything was really important to me. So I was able to do everything from metal to glass to painting to photo to neon to drawing and digital works and sound. And I also really enjoyed the community arts practice that Alfred had, and really thinking about what does it mean to have a social practice and what do the arts mean within a community. So that was really important to me, the fact that the arts at Alfred are deeply rooted. And that's really why I chose Alfred. Yeah.
Beautiful. And this was a question that came earlier from our mutual mentor, Dan. Where do you find time to be an impactful artist and an amazing arts recruiter?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, time management. I really had to learn time management. And I think going back to all of those internships that I did in my sophomore, junior, senior year, I really learned some great time management skills. I also was an intern at the Cohen Gallery for Kayla Stein. And then I was able to do a residency and apprenticeship with her, working with her in her studio. And Kayla is an amazing artist and also just a great community organizer. And I learned a lot of really great professional skills and time management from her. So I have to credit a lot of that to her. And just thinking about the moment, like being present for what you're doing and thinking, okay, this is what I have next. Just putting one foot in front of the other, I think is really important. So you can have a full plate and not be present for any of it. And that's something that I never want to do. I want my plate to be full and I want to enjoy every moment of it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think working in any capacity with older adults, especially older adults experiencing memory loss, really teaches you to always be present in the moment.
Absolutely.
What has been your favorite program within the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project?
Yeah, my favorite program, I think, would probably have to be, I really enjoy the memory bowl workshops with the children. I think that's definitely my favorite because it is so cross-generational. Seeing the children and their parents, and then sometimes they bring their grandparents. I think that's really exciting. And I think the materiality of glass, and glass being this very like fluid and hot and energetic material, parallels really nicely with the idea of memory. So I think that to me is my favorite.
Thank you so much. And I am seeing a question from Ryan about what are some material studies that you have on your plate moving forward in your practice?
Yeah, of course, asking me the hard questions. So material studies going forward, I think I'm always been inspired by earthworks or the concept of earthworks. And to have a partner that is also really in love with dirt is really exciting. So he's a heavy equipment operator by trade. So to have someone that wants to play in the dirt with me and move landscapes and work in the earth is really exciting to me. So I think I'm going to do some more material studies with earth on a large scale, and also chainsaw carving, which is kind of like a craft-based medium. I have a chainsaw and I do some chainsaw carving. So that's something that I really want to get into after the house is done and we get settled.
That is incredible. One of the questions, and you've answered it in a couple of my other questions, but who has been an important mentor for you in your artistic journey?
Yeah, definitely. Starting with my grandfather, just him pushing me to have that confidence to study the arts was really important. And then I think a lot of the artists and professors that I met at Alfred, that's another reason why I chose Alfred, was because I wanted that enriched mentorship. And I really got that from Alfred. I got not only really valuable technical skills, but I got a lot of really great mentorship and personal investment into who I was as an artist and as a person. So personally and professionally, I think a lot of my professors that I've had at Alfred have really shaped my artistic career.
That is beautiful. Well, I have one more question. I'm going to put it into the group chat. If anyone has a final question for Maria, I'm going to ask my final question, which may be the most important question of the evening. But what is your favorite food to eat your maple syrup on?
Yeah, so my favorite food to eat syrup on, aside from that railhead maple Vienna, that was amazing, is savory foods. A lot of people think of maple and they go straight to like pancakes and waffles, but you can put it in coffee as a sweetener, or we like to cook with it a lot for different like meats or vegetables. Love maple syrup on Brussels sprouts. It's a great thing. Put some on there, drizzle it with a little Parmesan cheese, toast it. You get this great like sweet and savory experience. So yeah, push your maple varieties.
Yeah. I cannot speak highly enough of Maria's maple syrup. I was lucky enough to grab some from her this summer, and I think we got like the biggest size available. And around Thanksgiving time, we were finishing it off, but it was some of the most robust and delicious maple syrup I've ever had. And if you're in the Alfred Hornell area, Maria, will there be opportunities for people to purchase maple from you this spring?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We're Maple Marrow at BNT Farms. And you can follow us right there, instant message us, or comment on anything that we're posting, and we can hook you up with some syrup.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I don't see any other comments in the chat. Thank you for everyone who was in the chat. There is glowing comments about Maria in the chat from she is a great teacher during high school visits too. She's really good at teaching students how to use rulers properly. Very and just a lot of glowing comments about what a wonderful person you are, Maria.
Oh, thanks.
So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who joined us here today. This video will remain up on our YouTube channel. And we do have some other in this interim until we can meet together in person again, we will continue doing virtual programming through the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project. I will be giving my artist talk next on Tuesday, February 9th. And then on I believe it's the last Tuesday in February, we'll be giving a talk called Looking Back and Moving Forward 8 Years of the Alzheimer's Glass and Iron Project. And that will feature me and Maria and several of the other artists who have been so instrumental in this program. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you at a future Alzheimer's Glass and Iron virtual program, and we cannot wait to see you in person again. We hope everyone has a beautiful evening. And thank you again so much, Maria, for taking the time to explain your artistic practice, as well as showing us a little bit into your life.
Thanks for the opportunity, Rose.
And best of luck to you and Greg as you finish that house construction.
Thanks.
One of the most absolutely incredible things I've ever seen anyone do is build a house from the ground up. So congratulations to you both on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, I hope you have a great night.